Ready to get started. Just good afternoon and welcome everyone for being here today. Again, just a quick check of your cell phones, just to save you the embarrassment, and me too, just to make sure. All right. So this is the February 27th, 2024 Hardin County Fiscal Court regular voting meeting. So let's begin and call this meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Squire Clem. Here. Squire Hicks.
Present.
Squire Muse.
Here.
Squire Pennington. Squire Saltzman. Here. Squire Thompson. Here. Squire Whitehead.
Here.
Squire Yates. Here. Judge Tall.
Here. All right, well, next we'll have our invocation by Magistrate Muse and Pledge of Allegiance led by Magistrate Yates.
Please stand. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this great country we live in and the privileges we enjoy. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to gather today to make decisions to improve our county. Help us consider all alternatives and work together to make the best decision possible. Please protect our first responders as they perform their duties and protect our servicemen and women as they protect our country. We humbly ask that you bring peace to our country and throughout the world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, again, thanks for joining us today. And the agenda is, again, fairly typical. We'll go through the previous court meeting minutes, and we'll have some, we do have both of our water districts today, Water District 1 and 2, with their annual presentations. I look forward to. We've got several of them here today and some board members, so I'm excited about hearing how things are going. And after that, we have some department office reports and presentations. We'll have our typical opportunity for any citizens' concerns or comments. We have one ordinance today to have a second reading on, so we'll go through that. And then we have our consent agenda that's got several items in there that I'll review. And then our typical comments at the end. We do have a closed session scheduled today that we'll break away from, and then we'll adjourn. So that's our agenda today. Just a few comments. I just think some positive things that I want to just talk a little bit about. Just some partnerships, some coordination. A simple thing like yesterday, I was just talking to our coroner just right before the meeting today, and yesterday they had a situation over there in their building, and really, you know, whenever you have a backup of a sewer, so you can imagine that that was not a pleasant experience. You know, sometimes it just takes a bunch of people to get together and figure out what's going on and to take care of it. So yesterday, you know, you had your emergency management, you had various people over there in the building. You know, and finally it took our jailer, Big Josh, to bring his heavy equipment over and really take care of the situation. So it was just a good, I just think, another opportunity to, for one thing to say thanks to our jailer for having the equipment to come over and handle that, and just working together as a team to take care of a simple situation, but yet one that was very disruptive. So thank you, Josh. Another item I just want to make note of here is I don't know if some of you have seen the paper today, but it's got a nice long article, and a very nice article about our animal control and how they came up with a way to equip area police agencies with microchip readers. And it's just I think another example of someone thinking a little bit out of the box, coming up with a new idea of how this could be helpful. And of course, you can read the article and see what the details behind it. But you know, this was something that Sharon Kelly, our deputy director over there, and that was able to use grant money. Didn't cost any taxpayer money, at least not local taxpayer money, and you know, be able to get 5 scanners and get the local police agencies, which was the other part of this. You know, they had to be willing to go through a little bit of training and to take on those scanners and have and understand how to use them, and take their time to work with our animal control people to make this happen. And they were willing to do that. So anyway, I just want to you know, just say a few positive things about that, and just that was great work, Sharon, on pulling that together and coming up with that idea and seeing it through to fruition. And one last thing, again, on our animal shelter, and talk a little bit about Mike McNutt. Some of you saw the article in the paper again about the Lifetime Achievement Award that he received from the Humane Society recently, and it was a pretty big deal. So if any of you know Mike and you know, want to send him a thank you or you know, congratulations for, I don't know how many years, it was 30 some years, I think, in this area, this business, and this work from the heart for him, I know. I just wanted to say something publicly at this meeting that we're proud of him and what he's accomplished. So those are just some positive things I wanted to bring out today, and we'll move on. All right, so move on to our Hardin County Fiscal Court minutes from February 13th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moving second. Any discussion? Hearing none, have a roll call, please.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion carries. All right, so next is a time now that we have Hardin County Water District Number 1 coming up for their annual presentation by Justin Metz.
Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, I guess
Thank
kind
you.
of pull it up there closer to where your mouth actually is.
All right. Thank you very much for allowing me to come and give you an update on Hardin County Water District Number 1. My name is Justin Metz. I'm the General Manager for Hardin County Water District Number 1. I've been working for the district's utilities for 19 years, since 2005. Started out as an entry-level person and just worked my way through all the different rungs of the ladder to ultimately be promoted to the General Manager. So I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak for you today and give you an update.
Thank you.
Quick rundown. We consist of, and I'll hit it on another slide, but we have 5 independent utilities. But as far as the customers served, our county water system serves 11,278 service connections. Our Radcliffe sewer system services 9,833 service connections. Fort Knox water and our Fort Knox sewer systems, there are less than 150 water meters on Fort Knox. So giving you a service count from that standpoint is really not the way to present it. Better yet, we serve a population that varies a pretty wide range. In the wintertime, when the Cadet Summer Training Command's not there and things die down a little bit, the population is approximately 7,750 on post. And then it balloons up pretty big in the summertime when that Cadet Summer Training Command comes in to nearly 23,600 being served. We service 5 distinct utilities. A stormwater one's not listed there, but it'll come up next. But we do it with 71 team members. 28 of those are certified as Class 4 through the state of Kentucky, either as water or wastewater certification. 6 of them are Class 3, 1 of them's a Class 2, and 2 of them are Class 1. So that's approximately 52% of our entire staff is certified through the state in water or wastewater treatment, collections or distribution. We own, operate, and maintain 2 water treatment plants with a total design capacity between the 2 of 10.1 million gallons a day, and 3 wastewater treatment plants with a total design capacity of 10.2 million gallons a day. We also wholesale 100% of the water to the Meade County Water District, and they serve 5,626 customers, and we wholesale 100% of the water to the city of Vine Grove, and they have 2,977 service connections for water. A funding breakdown there, this is where those 5 independent distinct utilities are mentioned. It's estimated for 2024 we'll have consolidated revenues of $21,859,000. County water system will present $8.6 million of that, which is almost 40%. Radcliffe Sewer is $5.5 million at 25% of that overall number. Fort Knox Water at $3.7 million is 17%. Fort Knox Sewer at 3.3, 15%, and then the stormwater system coming in there just under $600,000 of anticipated revenue is just under 3% contributing to that consolidated revenue number. And again, these are 5 distinct utilities. We have accounting for each one independently. Each utility has to get its own revenue, pay its own expenses, has to stand on its own. No other fund supports or supplements the other one. They have to stand on their own, and our accounting and our books are kept separately for each fund. For capital improvement projects funding, Hardin County has entrusted us with $3,479,050 of ARPA grant dollars. Separate from that, we have $4.3 million of Cleaner Water Program grant funding that's been entrusted to us. And then as I go through these projects that we've either recently completed or pending completion, those will be completed with $5.6 million of reserve funds out of those utilities. One we just finished up this past fall was expansion of water lines down some unserved roads. This is a $1.93 million project to do just under 7 miles of water lines down unserved roads. You can see hopefully in the red bubbles there, that's the lines that we did expansion on. The Constantine Road bubble there, it doesn't have the line in there yet. My map wasn't updated enough to get that one in there, but we expanded water down Greg Smallwood Road, and we've already installed 5 new taps on that road at this point in time. Laurel Ridge Road, Needham Road, and Constantine Road were the other roads we did in phase 1 of unserved road expansion, and we are up to 10 new taps installed on those roads right there as of today. Our next phase we're going to move on is, this one is underway. We've got the plans to Division of Water for review and working through that, but we've got $1.988 million of cleaner water grant dollars and it's 2 different grants compiled together for unserved roads, but we plan to also take on about the same distance of water lines, almost 7 miles worth, to do these other roads. A little bit shorter runs there, but quick rundown: Lamar Lane, Tyson Lane. There's a gap there in Rineyville, Big Springs Road that we'll close that gap up and extend the water line there. Fuller Road, Slaughter Lane, Johnny Goodman Lane, Pierce Mill Road, and Roy Road. Those are slated to go in phase 2, and we expect construction will probably start early summer on moving on those. Another cleaner water grant project that construction starts next couple weeks in March to replace the 6-inch cast iron water main down West Lincoln Trail. That water line has experienced a lot of corrosion. It's had 5 water main breaks in the last 2 years. That's a major thoroughfare in Radcliffe. So you can imagine the disruption that is caused by a water main, detouring traffic and everything else. So we think the best thing to do is get that line replaced and we're gonna move it out of the middle of the road and put it on the shoulder of the road so that any future problems won't be such an impact to the citizens trying to use the roadway. But that's an $830,000 project. That's construction and engineering cost with cleaner water dollars. We actually got a $1 million grant there. The additional funding that isn't used in this portion here will be some ancillary work on Atcher Street near there and South Woodland Drive, just some other ancillary things there to use those dollars wisely. The next three projects I'll go over, we bundled those up into 3 projects and bid them out to try to get the best pricing on it. So they all went to one contractor, and we funded it through an RD loan. The district took out an RD loan for $995,000. We also used reserve funds and then ARPA grant dollars to help us complete these next 3 projects I'll go through. But this first one here is our Purtle Springs Water Treatment Plant in Cecilia. It was renovated in 2010, and when we did that renovation, there were 4 new gravity filters put in place, but only 3 of them were outfitted and put into service. This project here allowed us to move forward, putting that 4th filter into service, increasing our efficiency at the water plant, and our production is able to go up a little bit. We also, in this midst of this project, replaced the media in the other 3 filters that was, at that point from 2010, was 13 years old. And we replaced the catwalk and grading on the steps across those cylinder clarifiers you see in the photo. That had fiberglass grading, and the UV had degraded it pretty bad to the point there was a safety concern. So we replaced that with aluminum grading. Our Gray Lane raw water pump station was built in 1993. It only pumped 750 gallons a minute, while our water withdrawal permit allowed us to do almost 2,000 gallons a minute. So we weren't meeting our capabilities there. So we've renovated this raw water pump station to allow us to get up to near the 2,000 gallons a minute. And we put a variable frequency drive on this pump so that the operators at the plant can control how much water comes in, how fast they want to bring water in from this particular source. Flashing back real quick, our Purtle Spring plant there, it's also got its own raw water source, so we're able to feed this plant from 2 different raw water sources. Either we can use both sources, bring in plant at the same time, or alternate between the 2 sources if need be for mechanical issues or any other circumstances. And this project, funding again, bundled there together with RD loan and ARPA grant dollars, $869,000 to completely renovate that station. Our Brizendine Booster Station project it's a pretty big project for our system, because currently our Brizendine elevated storage tank, to fill that tank, we have to actually throttle a butterfly valve back in our system, artificially raise the pressure in our system about 60 psi to get water to go into that elevated storage tank. It's very inefficient. That 60-pound pressure increase in the water lines doesn't go well. I can tell you that turns into water main breaks sometimes. So this project here, putting this booster station in, will allow us to fill this elevated storage tank without having to choke back another line anywhere else or increase the pressure anymore. So our water main breaks should substantially decrease out in our county water system, and our efficiencies will go way up. Water quality, just easier to maintain some things like that by moving water with a booster pump station. That project's in completion. It was a prefab pump station, came off a semi truck. They dug a hole, set it in the ground, and it is in construction right now and will finish up in the next few weeks to be fully in service and usable. But it's a $984,000 project. Next project has been slow in the making, but converting over to advanced metering infrastructure, AMI meter reading. Kind of a quick rundown on meter reading. Used to be, in the olden days, you had to walk to every single meter, open it up, look at the water meter, get the reading off of it, write it in a book, and on to the next one, and on to the next one. Technology moved along where you could go along and stick a wand on the meter pit lid and get a reading with a wand. Now in not so distant years, now we can read the meters with a truck driving by, reading with the transmitter. So now this AMI technology is the next step in technology where there's no more truck involved. From the office, with the click of a button, we read all the water meters. And this infrastructure has got great amount of possibilities because, and I'll flick through a little bit of where this will go, but real quick, what you see on the screen there is just on the northern part of our county water system. You see those green squares are repeaters and collectors. So those are basically radio antennas up in the air in the community there, able to pick up these radio transmitter signals from the transmission device from the meter pit. There's a radio transmitter in the meter pit that's sending a signal up in the sky all the time. And these collectors and repeaters we put around our system are able to grab that signal, pull it in, sticks it into the internet. Internet brings it over to our server, and boom, the meter reading's done. There's a lot more to that, and I'll hit on that a little bit. So I zoomed down one level, and what we see on our side of the software are these green dots you see. They're at the zoom level I'm on there in our software. It kind of clusters them up. But that is telling us, the green dots is telling us on our side of the system that we are reading these meters, and we've got a good read there in the last 24 hours. If you'll notice up in the top left of your screen, there's a couple of red dots. That's an indicator from our system that meter has not given us a good read in the last 24 hours. It initiates us to go do some troubleshooting and resolve the issue before it's time to actually do meter reading. I zoomed down one more level, and you can still see the green dots, but now I see the exact geospatial location of that meter pit, and then it gives the transmission, the radio transmitter identification number off the side of it. This allows our staff to go out and know exactly where that meter pit is in whoever's yard without having to kind of search around, or maybe grass is over top of it or whatever. This really allows you to walk up and know you're right on top of it and you're there. And then when they get in the pit, if they need to do any maintenance, they can match up that number you see on there and confirm that everything's good and they're at the right place. That's our side of the system as far as the utility trying to use the tool. Here's where we turn around and use the tool that this allows us to do to serve the customer, to put usage information in front of them, and they can use it as they see fit. But now, with the fixed-base meter reading system, we're able to bring in hourly reads and read the meter every hour, 24 hours a day, 365. Instead of reading the meter once a month, historically, now we're able to provide hourly meter reading. The customer can log into the portal we provide, and they can look and see their usage. On this particular chart, I show you monthly usage. In December, I clicked on that one for the presentation, but they can show that their consumption in that period was 7,882 gallons, and they'll tell them the price of their bill, $75.81. They can tool on over to daily. They can see how many gallons am I using per day, and you can follow the calendar along the bottom there and just see what you got going on as far as a customer. Our software actually allows us to do a mimicking, so we can go in and see a customer's account at our office. If they walk in, they got a concern or a problem or whatever, we can bring up their account through a mimicking on our side and kind of help talk them through or show them some information at their house if they've had a leak or they've got a higher than normal bill, things like this. It allows us to have an educated conversation about what may be going on and give them some pointers. And we can drill that all the way down to the hourly usage numbers. This becomes interesting information in our line of work, because if you have a toilet that's running all night long, I can show you usage of 2 gallons a minute, 24 hours a day around the clock, and help you troubleshoot or help you identify that maybe you have a problem at your house, or there's a leaky faucet, or there's a leaky toilet, or you got a service line leak, different things like that. It presents information you can use to make educated, informed decisions. So it's just the potential of where this tool could go and what it can provide is really amazing, because we can also we get leak report information from these transmitters, tell us if there's a possible leak on that customer service line. They can sign up for text alerts or other messaging. So if you have a higher than normal usage, you can get a text on your phone if you sign up for it, and it'll tell you your usage is high. Maybe you're out of town in Florida on vacation, and all of a sudden you get an alert. It may save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you can respond quickly rather than being out of town for a week and all of a sudden you show up at home and you got a disaster on your hands. So there's tons of possibilities with it if the tool's fully utilized. I'll jump off that and move over to our Fort Knox water utility. Again, this is a separate bucket of money. This fund has to stand on its own and do its own upkeep with its own dollars that we take in for that fund. But in 2024, we plan on doing $240,000 roughly of water line replacements on Fort Knox. We've already done the big red bubble there at the bottom is Benter Street. We replaced 400 feet of 12-inch cast iron line need to be replaced, and doing that. So we're doing these projects in-house. These are small enough that we can do these in-house with our own crews. Other projects we hope to get completed in 2024. We built 2 new elevated storage tanks on Fort Knox in 2021. They're 40 foot higher in elevation than the old tanks, which you see the red bubbles around there. So those current older tanks on Fort Knox are still there, but they're completely out of service, and we actually need to demolish them and bring them to the ground and clear the site. But again, we're working on some funding to square that away and execute that project. The 2 education center tanks, the Public Works Department is going to take those down with Fort Knox funding, and we're going to do the other 6 with Hardin County Water District funding. That's just an ownership circumstance on who owns which tanks is the only difference there. Jumping over to our sewer projects that we've got underway or getting ready to construct. This is an overview of our Radcliffe wastewater treatment plant. Zoom down there, just a picture of the guys did concrete, laid that concrete just a few weeks ago, but I'd like to show you, it's hard for me to pinpoint it on there, but our current press building was built in the 90s. It was a sludge drying building, so it already been repurposed to put a belt press in there to handle the sludge, and that building is in very poor condition, and that belt press is over 20 years old. It's got a lot of wear and tear, so the determination was made to build a new structure, get a new press, which we're installing a screw press. So this building will house all the infrastructure necessary to treat sludge from the wastewater process in a new structure. It's a $4.5 million project. It's funded with Cleaner Water Program grant dollars, $225,500. ARPA grant dollars provided to us, $100,000. And then the reserves, $4.1 million of reserve funds there to bring this project to completion, which will be at the end of 2024. The Lindsay Golf Course Gravity Sewer Rehabilitation Project shown here. This one's using cured-in-place pipe technology. Instead of doing old-fashioned dig a trench, replace the pipe, and go that route, that's a real challenging circumstance in the middle of a golf course. Because if you see where that line goes by, it goes by a putting green, two tee boxes, and across a fairway. Not real popular to have a bunch of construction equipment on the golf course when people are swinging the clubs. So we're able to do this project. The contractor will just enter a manhole, and they'll shoot this liner into the line through the manhole. They'll inflate it. They'll heat it up. It'll take the shape of the pipe, and it'll basically permanently reline the inside of the sewer pipe that's there, and it will give it the structural capacity of PVC pipe. And you're able to do that without affecting the surface and disturbing all the people trying to golf. That's about 2,000 feet of 18-inch gravity sewer that we want to do that to, and this was spurred on by a big cavity developed next to a tee box a couple summers ago, and presented a real problem that the golf course was not real thrilled about. So we're going to try to remedy this going forward. Marvin's lift station renovation. This project's a needed project just because the lift station's kind of got a poor design circumstance in that there's not a deep enough wet well, and the storage capacity is just not there in the wet well. We've already engaged with the engineering firm as of last week. We expect this project to get underway and possibly near completion by the end of this year or the first quarter of next year. But this engineering firm is going to do some studying for us, do some flow studying and some other analysis to see exactly what we need to do to remedy this issue. But we see recurring sewer overflows in this proximity, and that's a real problem. We're in the line of work of keeping the water in the pipe. When it's not in the pipe, we got a problem. So we're going to try to solve that problem with the lift station renovation here on Marvin's. The Water District, District 1, acquired the West Point water and sewer utility in 2023. October 2023 is when we officially began operating it as a District 1 utility. Since then, in the midst of that, for all the way since 2011, we've helped the city of West Point with their utilities. New Mayor Cerisi and the city council decided that they thought it would be best to get out of the utility business and let District 1 do it, since that's kind of our specialty, operating utilities. So in the history of working with West Point, in the image you see there, that's actually a lift station down there to the bottom left of the screen a little bit, and then that power pole in the middle, that brings the power over and runs that lift station. Well, in more than one occasion, a reckless driver has plowed this thing off the side of the road, off the side of 31W there. Not once, not twice, but I know of at least 3 stories where this station has been taken out of service because a vehicle has ran it off the road. There's the tire tracks from the most recent one that happened in January, where a vehicle ran off the road, and there's the power pole that was running the lift station thrown down on the ground there. Electric company LG&E was able to come in and make this safe to be around very quickly, but it's a little bit slower to reconstruct everything. Tearing stuff up's easy, putting it back together takes a little longer. So we had to run this pump station with a generator for about 6 weeks by sending guys down there to turn on the generator, then let the pumps run, pump it all the way down, come back again at lunchtime, do the same thing, come back again at near nighttime, 7, 8 o'clock at night, do it again. So we manually operated this station for 6 weeks until we could get it completely put back in service with a new electric service, new electric meter. That control panel was salvageable, so I was able to put it back in place. But this all leads to I've heard enough stories about this station being plowed off the side of the road that we're going to eliminate this lift station altogether. So through cleaner water grant dollars that are just now getting moved from West Point's name into District 1's name, we will have the funding to gravity flow what goes to this lift station on over to industrial lift station, which is at the end of that green line on the top of the screen. And then the pump station that's there now, Beverly's Mobile Home Park Lift Station is what we call it, but that red X is going to get rid of that pump station, flow it all. So our efficiencies go way up from double pumping. Now we can flow all this to one pump station, and we remove this giant red beacon, I guess, that attracts vehicles to run our pump station over off the side of the road. So doing all this stuff, our staff, of those 52% of our staff are certified professionals through the state of Kentucky's certification programs. We take a lot of pride in what we do, and when you take a lot of pride in stuff, sometimes you get awarded for your hard work. We had a few awards here I'll touch on in 2023. Awards from KWWA, Kentucky, Tennessee Water, American Water Works Association. Actually, this one doesn't happen very often at all, but an award from the Army. But for Central Kentucky Wastewater Operators Association, 2023 Wastewater Plant of the Year Award was awarded to our Fort Knox Wastewater Plant. Our supervisor at that facility was also awarded the Wastewater Operator of the Year Award and his name's Kenny Horn. Move on to our Kentucky, Tennessee awards. In 2023, we won Operational Excellence Award for our Radcliffe and Fort Knox wastewater treatment plants. And then our Army Award here, 2023 Secretary of the Army Energy and Water Management Awards. The Fort Knox DPW has to submit for this. Hardin County Water can't technically receive this award because we're not in the Department of Defense. We're an outside utility. But the DPW told me that they wanted to pass along that we get credit for the award because we did all the utility work and did everything that allowed them to submit for the award. So, but the award by name is the Energy and Water Resilience Program Effectiveness is what Fort Knox DPW was noted for, and that's across the world awards for the U.S. Army. That's all I have for you today. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. I thank you very much for your time, and then I appreciate your support very much. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them.
Justin, wow, that was a good report.
Thank you, sir.
Good report.
Where do you mentioned information for text. Do you get it on your bill, or do we have to call the water district?
If you call the office, we can set you up. We are doing what I like to call a slow rollout on this. We're not advertising it and publicizing it just yet because
You just did.
You have.
we're at 70% build out on that whole system, and that includes our entire footprint that we're going to put this in place for all the way out into our rural part of our system. So we're going to make this available to every single water customer the district has. So as we get closer to 90, 95%, we'll start making bigger advertisements about it and start educating customers and putting out publications. But we're still working through a few bugs, glitches, trying to really hone in on all the little details and get things dialed in really nice so that when they come in a flood of wanting to use it, it's ready to go.
Okay, fair enough.
So your AMI is 70%?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I'm a little bit familiar with that kind of program coming from the electric utility industry. And what you can do from the office is absolutely amazing. Can you cut the water off from the office?
The feature, they do have a remote controlled small valve that you can have the capability, but the price point just doesn't make sense. To do it, it's almost $500 for that remote controlled valve, but you would almost have to put it somewhere where a customer can, every month, has to be cut off. And we really don't promote that happening at all. So right now it just doesn't make sense cost-wise to be able to install that kind of infrastructure.
Well, Justin, congratulations on your recent appointment here as general manager. Welcome. Really great to meet you, and accolades for all of the awards that Hardin County District 1 has received. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right, next up is Hardin County Water District number 2, Shaun Youravich.
Good afternoon, Judge, members of the court. It's hard to believe
afternoon.
it's already been a year since we were up here last. It's been a busy year. I know you all have been busy. With me today, I brought back we have our Chairman Mike Bell with me, board member Mr. Feeser, and board member Mr. Boozer. So you're here for support. I know that you all have a pretty long agenda, so I'm going to try to go through this quickly, but feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions.
Hey, Shaun, could you pull that microphone just a little closer to you?
I'll stand a little
Thank
closer.
you.
How's that?
That's better.
Okay, well, first I wanted to, which I've just done, welcome Mr. Feeser and Mr. Woosley to our board as new board members this past year. I think they have both settled in well, and we certainly look forward to continue working with them. Move into financial information for our sewer division. Here is our revenues and expenses for 2023 budget versus actual, along with the budget or this year's budget numbers for our sewer division. Bottom line here is you'll see that we're showing a negative net income for our actual in 2023, and we have also budgeted a negative net income for this year. Now, would like to point out, however, that our revenues do cover expenses. We're just not fully funding depreciation. Of course, we have a very young sewer division. In fact, $16 million worth of infrastructure and 47 customers. So I don't expect to cover fully depreciation until we start to grow our customer base, which we'll do, or until we begin collecting sewer waste from the battery facilities in Glendale. So this is our financial or revenue for our water division for 2023, actual versus budget. If you look at the variance, you'll see that we were just under $2 million more than what we had expected for 2023. Much of that is in, or some of that is in wholesale sales that we sell to District 1. We don't budget for that because we don't have a contract, and so that revenue's not guaranteed. Kind of the remainder of that, the majority of it was in other revenue, which includes meter sales as well as relocation fees. The expenses for 2023, again, actual versus budget, we were about $67,000 over budget for last year, which is just under 1%. But bottom line is, at the end, we had a net operating income of about $773,000 for last year. Our budget for 2024, you'll see that we're budgeting about $15 million in revenue, and then on the expense side, we're expecting about $16.8 million in expenses. And yes, expenses are budgeted to be more than what our revenue. But again, I'd like to point out that we are covering our operational expenses, but just not expected to cover fully fund depreciation. So looking at our revenue and expense trend over the past few years, I kind of show this trend each year. You'll see that our revenue and expenses are both increasing. Looking at the margin, however, the expenses are growing quicker than the revenue. And we have a plan for that, and I'll share with you in just a moment. This is a summary of our debt that we have, our bonds, and this also includes our note to City of Elizabethtown for the acquisition of the system back in 2014. All total, we're looking at just a little over $14 million in debt. So as I mentioned, our expenses are growing at a quicker pace than our revenue. This is something that we've been talking about for a number of years, the past few years, and we've been watching. And so this past year, we hired a consultant to conduct a rate analysis for us. And based on the results from that analysis, we filed an application with the Public Service Commission back in September for a rate increase. So for the past few months, we have been working with the Public Service Commission, answering data requests. In fact, last month, we actually attended a hearing in front of the Public Service Commission Board in Frankfurt, where they asked multiple questions about the rate increase. So just a little history about our rates. Our last full rate increase was in 2007. So 17 years ago was the last time we did a full rate increase that affected all customers. In 2014, we did an increase that only affected the Elizabethtown service area. This was done phased in over a 4-year period. And then in 21 and 22, we did a purchase water adjustment for both years, and this was, both of those adjustments were basically a penny, an increase of a penny per thousand. So what does this mean for our customers? If the rates are approved as submitted to the Public Service Commission, our minimum bill, which is for 2,000 gallons, will go from $18.54 up to $22.06. And that's an increase of $3.52, or about just under 19%. So our average customer, who uses 4,000 gallons of water per month, their bill would go from $28.88 to $34.32, which is about a $5.44 increase. We still think it's a great value. I mean, if you look at it, we're still looking at a penny, less than a penny per gallon. And obviously compare that to some of the things that you buy daily. We still think it's a great value for something that's delivered to your home 24/7. So now I'll move into just some of the projects that we're working on, or projects that we either completed construction on or under construction or plan to construct. This is just a small few, but some of the major ones. Starting with our downtown Elizabethtown enhancement project, this includes replacement of a aging 8-inch distribution main down West Dixie Avenue. We replaced it with a 12-inch main. It was done in 3 separate sections. Section 2A, our in-house construction crew completed that section. 2B was done by an outside contractor. They have completed that one. And then 2C, our in-house construction crew is actually working on that now. They expect to get that done within the next couple of months. This project also includes a tank, water tower. We've been talking about this for the past couple of years as well. And it's a 750,000 gallon tank that will be constructed on the grounds of Elizabethtown Independent High School. We expect to bid that tank out in the next 2 to 3 months. And then another part of this project was a rehabilitation of a pump station that had been decommissioned before. We're going to rehab that pump station and put that back in service. These are some of the projects that are specific to the BOSC and KCTS project in Glendale. There's multiple projects. Some of them have been completed, some are under construction, and some will start construction this year. There's a pump station that we'll be constructing, and then some upgrade work to two existing pump stations. We have some sewer upgrades that we're working on now. We have a contractor working on that down in Glendale. And then go into a little more detail on the water line project. This consisted of about just under 8,000 feet of 20-inch water main and just under 6,000 feet of 12-inch water main. This was installed by our in-house construction crew down through the center of the industrial site in Glendale and then down Gilead Church Road over to the new training center. Again, our crews completed this project, and actually it went into service, or the last section of it went into service back in November. Mentioned the tank. Well, this is another tank that we plan to build that will be specific to the Glendale area. And this is going to be a 2.5 million gallon tank. This will be one of the largest tanks that we have in our system. We have the property for this project, which is located off of Overall Phillips Road. Some of you all may remember the old Coke farm. We actually bought property there, which is where the tank will be located. This is also where the proposed ring road extension will intersect with Interstate 65. So we plan to bid this tank along with the downtown tank within the next 2 to 3 months, and to begin construction sometime in this year. So we have a project on Gilead Church Road. This is a relocation project. I'm sure you're aware that the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is doing a realignment of Gilead Church Road, and that's going to require us to relocate our existing 4-inch water main on that road. Our plan is not only to relocate it, but we plan to expand it as well. So we'll go from 4-inch to 8-inch, and then also extend it on over under I-65 over to Highway 31W. The intent with the upgrade is to expand pressure and availability of water on Gilead Church Road, as well as the 31W corridor. Total cost of this project is $2.9 million. Now the state will only pay for like-in-kind replacement. Anything that's considered betterment, we're responsible for. So our portion of this project will be about $720,000. This is currently unfunded. We don't have grant dollars for this. So if if we're not able to obtain grant dollars, then this will come out of our reserves. Unserved roads, we have a list of 18 roads in our service territory that are currently unserved, and that's equivalent to about 34 miles of unserved roads, or 3.1% of our service area. That list of 18 roads, we rank them, use several different criteria to determine the ranking, and two of the roads right now on the top of the list, Highway 720 and Melrose Road, a little over 8 miles of roads that we plan to construct water mains on this coming year. That'll give us the potential to add about 60 customers. We plan to pay for this out of the SLFR grant that we've received through the county. We'll do this construction with our in-house crews, so we'll try to stretch the dollars as far as we can. if there's money left over from after we do these two roads, we'll go next on the list and just kind of keep plugging away at that list. This is a list of projects in our capital plan that we expect to construct or work on over the next 5 years. I put this list on here. There's 26 different projects. This is the major or the bigger projects. I put this list on here just to show, you know, what our estimated capital needs are for the next 5 years when it comes to projects. You know, a little over 37 million. Some of these projects, the pricing's a little bit old on it, so that 37 million is probably actually a little higher. What's not included in here is our next source water project where we plan to expand our source water. That's something that we'll continue to watch our demands and determine when we need to pull the trigger on that. But that project alone, we've already planned and put some numbers to it, and that project alone would be around $40 million in itself. So with over $37 million worth of projects on the books for the next 5 years, I just wanted to show you what grant dollars we have to apply, that we will apply towards that. So we have right now a little over $26 million in grant funds. There's out of the 5 grants that we have listed here, 4 of them we have paperwork on, and we're confident that we have those grants. The last one, the grant from the Economic Development Fund, $7.5 million. We don't have paperwork on that. I feel like that we will end up with that grant, but it's not guaranteed. And if not, and of course that drops our grant dollars down to about 18 million. The Southern Hardin County Sewer Study, I think all of you are familiar with this project. I just wanted to give a real brief update. Basically, again, thank you all for the funding, the $185,000 that y'all are applying towards this. We did have spoke with Strand and Associates and have given them the approval to move forward, signed the contract last week, and they've actually started, we've already started to receive emails and from Strand, and so they've started to work on this, and we'll hope to have a product that we can come back and share with you in the next 8 to 10 months. So I'll kind of talk about some of the community involvement that we've done over the past year. Our employees, they love being involved in the community, especially with schools. So there's a lot of activity that we've done with local schools, both in the county and in the city of Elizabethtown. Some of the things that we've done, we've offered multiple plant tours at both of our treatment facilities. We've had employees go out to participate in reality stores, summer camps, as well as career fairs at some of the schools. Again, I think our employees enjoy participating, doing this more than the kids do. Some of the other community events that we have done, working with out in the community, we've participated in the Quick See Spectacular event, the annual ECTC Meal Drive. We've had a group of individuals or employees that went over to Signature Healthcare to help spread some Christmas cheer, and then we supported some local families at Christmas time. And then some recognition of some of our employees. We had Forrest Pollock, who's our Projects and Systems Manager, received Operator of the Year award from the Kentucky Water and Wastewater Operators Association. We've also, our system, the utility as a whole, was a finalist for the Kentucky Rural Water Association's Wooden Bucket Award. And then we've had 10 of our employees who obtained certification from the Kentucky Division of Water this past year. That's either for a sewer collection certification, a water treatment certification, or a distribution operator certification. So I will say that we're proud of them obtaining their certifications. Much like Justin was saying with District 1, we have a large number of employees who are certified from the Kentucky State Division of Water. In fact, if you look across the state, Hardin County has the highest number or the most number of certified water operators of any county across the state. So I think we're proud of that, having that, making that achievement. And then this is our, most of our field crew, and they, past year, received the Distribution System Award from Kentucky Wastewater Operators Association. So we're proud of that accomplishment as well. And then I want to point out that J.D. Powers this past year named Kentucky out of the entire nation #1 in water. And they based that on multiple things, billing, water quality, customer service, and cost. So I think we're very proud to be part of that, and in a state that it was ranked #1 in the nation for our water. So we're proud of that. So that's what I have. If y'all have any, entertain any questions you may have.
Shaun, when do you expect to hear back from PSC on your rate increase?
Well, that's a good question. We're expecting April is what we're hoping for, but again, it's in their hands, so that could get stretched out, but we're hoping to hear back from them in April.
I just want to say 17 years is for full-scale rate increase is amazing. And my water is probably the most economical bill I get each month, and sure do appreciate everything that you guys do and the service that you're delivering to our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shaun, I want to express my appreciation to you and your employees for their awareness of how important it is to convey water quality to young people, youth, and children in our schools. It makes such a difference. We have to prepare our next generation. So thank you.
I agree. Thank you. And we enjoy doing that and being part of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shaun, another good report, by the way.
Thank you.
In today's crazy world that we live in, are there security concerns or anything that the citizens should be aware of or for a water supply?
Well, I think there's several steps that we've all taken in the water industry, and I know that District 1 and District 2 both have done multiple things. Everything from cybersecurity to securing facilities and sites. We actually have a resiliency plan that we developed 5 years ago, and it's actually time to go back and renew that. In fact, staff meeting this morning, we talked about preparing and conducting an exercise, a tabletop exercise, as you will, to simulate some type of incident and how we would respond. So we keep up with that, and I'm not going to say there's never a threat, but we monitor all of our systems. We have staff that are literally there 24/7, who's able to monitor all of our SCADA and telemetry and so forth. So I feel like, again, there's always going to be a threat, but I feel like we've taken steps to minimize that.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think a few of the board members were introduced. Some of you that have not been introduced, maybe Justin, I think some of the others were some of your board members, just to make sure that we know who they are that are here today.
With District 1, Commissioner Ron Hockman is here, Treasurer John Tyndall, and Secretary Howard Williams from District 1 are here before.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of wrap this up with, I think everyone agrees that we are very fortunate in this county to have two wonderful water districts. I've gotten to know most of you and tried to attend some of the board meetings and have been very impressed with the amount of professionalism and the amount of forethought as this county grows, and how we're going to supply all the water for everything that's going on. And I know that you guys have been working very hard on that and have put things in place for our county, and it's just one of the things that I don't sit around worrying about. You know, it's just like, I'm so appreciative of all of you and the board members that are here and meeting every month, diligently working on this, this big thing that we have to have every moment of the day. And it's not just supplying water, but very good quality water at a reasonable price. So thank you very much. Just wanted to say that to you. Right. Okay, so we'll move on to some department office reports, presentations, and we'll start out with our coroner, Pat Elmore.
Good evening, Judge, members of the court and the audience. Tonight I'll have the 2023 annual report. We have a few more slides than we normally do, but I'll try to roll through them fairly quick. Total cases worked in 2023, we had 1,066. You'll see the breakdown of those accidents: 70, homicides 8, natural 962, and 23 suicides and 3 undetermined. For a manner of death, obviously always naturals will be typically our biggest footprint of what we do, and then followed by accidents, and then homicides, and then suicides, or suicides and homicides. And unfortunately, a small portion of those will be undetermined. The next slide will give you the accidents by the cause of death. Overdoses still continue to be our main cause of death, for an accidental death. Then motor vehicle collisions and other, that would be drownings and falls and so forth. Homicides, again, we worked 8 cases this year. Firearms seem to be the method of homicide this year primarily, and then sharp force injuries would be the other. Suicides, we had 23 suicides this year. Firearms, again, was the leading cause of that, followed by asphyxia, that would be hangings, and then overdoses and other methods. Death by manner, this is the demographics. This kind of gives you a breakdown of the suicides. We started tracking this in the past year, and you can see this from 20 to 29, and then it takes a gap between that. That area actually changed from last year. It was the younger folks that were, or the middle ages where our primary numbers were at. This year, it was a bigger span from 20 to 29 and from 70 to 79. Most of those were females, actually. This is one positive thing that we've seen this year. Our overdoses are actually down from 55 to 37. We're looking at some things about that. Maybe that we feel like there may be some early interventions with Narcan being available more readily. That's going to help. We hear a lot of here in our office. We'll hear where they're going out on unresponsive. We feel like those are being revived. So that's one positive thing we had there. This other slide would be the drug-related death by demographics. Again, it breaks down the age, the race. Elizabethtown still has our largest caseload, followed by Radcliffe. That's purely population-driven. And then, of course, we'll always have those out-of-county ones that come into the hospital. We're now tracking toxicology that's coming out of the hospital. We're catching overdoses, otherwise wasn't caught in the years past. Most frequent drugs, methamphetamine, fentanyl, as you see, and of course the fentanyl derivatives of it. One item up at the very top was kratom. We had 2 kratom deaths this year. And now I think anybody's keeping up with things going on, frankly, there's just some new legislation in with kratom as far as they're putting a scheduling on that. As that progresses, we'll keep you advised of that. Breakdown of autopsies, we had 29 autopsies this year, 491 cremations. We did have a couple of county cases, but we're waiting to clear those up from last year. And then morgue log, we had 176 individuals that went through our morgue. The next number is EMS transports compared to coroner transport. That was the number we're trying to really take that, and we were able to have EMS transport 6 individuals, and we transported 143. Again, residencies, Hardin County or Elizabethtown made up 43%, Radcliffe, and it just kind of follows population down through there. Again, we've seen, these are some of our out of Hardin County. Some of these were interstate incidents. Some of these are brought into our hospital. And Of course, obviously, the out-of-state ones were some that were found in some of the hotels around here and some traffic accidents that we worked. Cases by age and gender, the 70, 79, again, that was, a lot of those were naturals. But again, if you remember back, that was some of the suicide that we see in that age group also. Questions, anyone? Okay.
Just a comment, I don't know if I'm on. The fact that we have 0 indigent burials, I think is a huge credit to your all's office. You do a great job with that. And just to have, in 2021, 4, 2022, 3, to be the 5th largest county and to have such few, I mean, counties spend a fortune on this. You all do a great job keeping that from happening, and I
Well, we
appreciate
appreciate that, and we found that there's obviously an application process that we go through, and the other thing is, I spoke with Jefferson County and Fayette, and we do a little more careful screening. We want to take care of folks that need help, and with Jefferson County, theirs are in the hundreds, and ours, luckily, and unfortunately now, since this report came out, we've had a couple, but that's just going to happen. It's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. To touch on what the judge said, I would like to thank the county departments that did respond to our little incident over there yesterday. It was kind of, like I said, EMS, emergency management, the jail, building and grounds. It really worked out well. It was bad enough, but it really made that. So, John, appreciate your crew. Josh, obviously, his crew's always ready to respond to those. So, really appreciate that effort there. So, it held damage down to as best it could be. Any other questions?
Pat,
yes, sir.
Just for clarity, the residency of the citizens outside of Hardin County, it's got Nelson County 36. Is there a breakdown where if that was drug related or natural or?
There is, though, some of those individuals, we're going to actually break these categories a little further. Some of these we were telling you about, we actually started tracking the in-hospital deaths. We have them send what they call a parent natural death reporting form, and you understand when a person comes in the emergency room, they're looking to save that individual. They'll take them up to the floor, and this is kind of a real life scenario. They will take them to the floor, and then after the fact they're deceased, they will find that they had drugs in their system. So that individual may have come from Nelson County, or it may have come from Adair County, or in one of those individuals there. So I hope that answered your question. So yes, that's where we're catching some of those at. And some of them are actually transient population that come in here and stay. So. Any questions? Once again, I want to thank everybody for support over this year. I know it's a little late in the year, but this is our first opportunity, so thank everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for bringing up Building and Grounds and John. I didn't mention him in the list over there. It was kind of obvious, and I didn't even say that. So make sure include John in that for sure. He's in the middle of it. So next, I believe we have Sheriff's presentation. Don't see John, though.
No, but you see me.
I do.
Good afternoon, Judge.
A lot better looking.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Judge, County Attorney, County Clerk, and magistrates. And we do have a report. You have one with you, and we will start going through it. This is for December and January. In December and January, we had 162 arrests, 331 citations, 103 warrants, 672 civil. There was 1,228 complaint calls. All of those were settled, I'm sure. No, I'm just teasing. 128 accidents, 89 criminal cases, and other, which includes 712 school safety checks, 159 violation warnings, and 1,563 attempts to serve. Office operations for December and January included 65 records checks, 102 CCDWs, 1,126 vehicle inspections, and of course this doesn't include taxes collected and other office general duties. Court transportation for December and January, there were 48 adult court transports, 3 court juveniles, and 72 transports in-state. And on the next slide, you will just see where Sheriff Ward was presented a plaque for his dedication and support to the Central Kentucky Rods and Machines Christmas for Kids car show. Many of you support that organization as well, and this is just an organization that collects toys and things of that nature to present to children that need them. And then on the next slide, we are happy to welcome 2 new employees to our staff, which is Daniel Waddell, who will be joining the courthouse staff, and Austin Gentles, which will be going to the academy and becoming a road deputy. And some of you that were very interested in our detectives, I want you to know that we have conducted an interview, and we'll be adding a 3rd detective to our staff on March 15th, and we're very excited about that. And then a lot has been on TV and in the local newspaper about the flock cameras. And we're so excited to be in partnership with the Hardin County Schools and EPD and local law enforcement. This is just another set of eyes for law enforcement agencies and schools and things of that nature. And it's not only to get criminals, but it's also, it has other uses as well. We recently used it, they tried to say that someone was there in a murder, and come to find out that the flock cameras found this person somewhere else, so he could not have been there. So they have a vast majority of uses. So we're excited to be part of that, and this is great for Hardin County that these flock cameras are coming. So we're excited to be a part of that local partnership. And then the last thing on my agenda is, most of you know we had a fatality earlier this morning, and if you would pray for those families involved in Upton, that would be great. And also remember the first responders on that call as well. They never get used to any of that. It still plugs at their heart. So if you would remember those families and the first responders, we would appreciate that. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you for the good report.
You're welcome. Thank you all. We appreciate you guys.
Right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is our county clerk, Brian Smith.
There we go. Well, we'll dive right in. We have a special election, as you all know. Special is referred to the date, not to the processes that we use. We are required to do the same things we do in a special election that we do in a normal election. This is to replace, Russell Weber vacated his seat, and so this is an empty seat. So currently the folks in the 26th district do not have representation in the legislature. This impacts in Hardin County, West Point, Fort Knox 26, and the Radcliffe Southeast precincts. You can see the dates and times of the in-person excused absentee voting. Those are the dates that you have to have an excuse, like you will be not available during early voting and special election day, or if it could be age, illness, or disability. We'll be doing that. Normally that's done in the clerk's office downstairs, but because this is a northern Hardin County election, we're going to put that actually in our new location in Radcliffe at the former Nolan RECC building. So be looking for that. Folks can pop in there at their convenience from 8 to 4:30 during any of those 6 dates. The early voting, which is afforded us before every election, will be March 14th, 15th, and 16th, again using the Radcliffe branch of the clerk's office there at 101 West Lincoln Trail Boulevard. And then finally, special election day, March 19th. Election day hours are always 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you're in line at 6 p.m., and we're not expecting much of a line, you will get to vote regardless of how long that line is. We'll be utilizing both West Point's school building and the Radcliffe branch of the clerk's office. I know there's not a lot to get terribly excited about on this race, but I know that we have voters in those 3 precincts who have never missed an election. Every year I have people on election day, they shake my hand, they brag about it. They're in their 60s and 70s. I've never missed an election. Let that be your incentive. Keep that streak going and keep voting, and then be ready to vote again in another month in May. We're doing our best to advertise that. Mayor Cerisi's helping us push the information out in the north and there at West Point. And I know the magistrates are concerned about their respective areas as well. And we'll move right along because that's what's going to happen in our office. Very soon we'll have the May primary and general elections will be in November. We've expanded our locations. This is based on a lot of feedback we got from the last election on where we needed to fill in some gaps. When I say general election, our general election plan technically hasn't been approved by the State Board of Elections. So this is our primary plan. We expect it to be very similar in November. But what we have done is we have added Heartland Elementary School, Cecilia Valley Elementary School, and then Glendale Christian Church to fill in some gaps in the more rural parts of the area where people were really, quite frankly, too far a drive from a polling location to meet really, I think, a good quality standards. The locations there that you see with the double asterisk, those are going to be our largest locations, and those are locations where we're going to be adding additional check-in spots. So there'll be additional check-in clerks there. One of the things that we heard is people wanted to they could get to the location, but they wanted to get through the line quickly. So this plan is sort of a mixed bag of kind of what I originally had in my head of more locations, but people were really more concerned about how quickly they could get in and out of voting. We know, so we feel like this is a really good plan. The May primary will be a good test for it. We can always make adjustments for November, but we wanted to make sure I know each magistrate, you all are concerned about your part of the county, and so we hope this provides improvement to that. So we'll move on. Hardin County property check, we announced that at the last meeting. We've had a great number of folks who are interested in it. So if those in the audience haven't signed up, get out your phone and scan the QR code, or if you're watching at home, you can scan the QR code from your phone and it'll take you right to the address. The account is easy to set up. I've had a number of folks call us and compliment us on this. The first 10 days, we had over 225 accounts created. I was going to check that number before it popped up here, and I didn't, but I know a few days ago we were at 265 and some, and it was growing. The folks who have signed up and found out how easy it is are sharing it. I had a woman message me this afternoon that she just thanked us for this service, and she says she's sharing it with everybody that she knows. It's just, I think, a common fear among a lot of folks, especially some of our senior residents. And finally, our CAVIS update. You all heard me talk about this ad nauseum. The line waits are still longer than we want. It doesn't meet my standard for customer service, but we are doing the very best we can with this software program. The team at CAVIS is upgrading it twice a week. So Monday morning and Thursday morning, we get an upgrade that's been loaded up over the night to try and repair some of the bugs and some of the hitches that were causing some delays. To put this in sort of lay terms, the previous system, every vehicle had its own profile. And that really doesn't work in a modern world and in a modern universe. So CAVIS now is you have an individual profile. So the human being has the profile. And the first thing we're doing when you step up to the counter to renew is we're merging all those vehicles into your profile. Make sure every vehicle that you own is accurate. The challenge we've had with CAVIS is there's a lot of vehicles you don't own that are now in your profile and attached to you. We have in the clerk's office, I do not have authority to remove a taxable asset from you. That's the authority of the Department of Revenue. So that's where we partner with our local PVA. And I want to just commend Danny Hutcherson and his team. They have had, on a normal busy day, we would send probably 10 to 12 people up into his office to get an issue like this corrected. That's not unusual now for it to be 40 or more. And he has a small staff and they have other duties. but we're working together to try and correct those faulty records. So if you come up and you're surprised or shocked by a vehicle, don't worry. We want to work with you to solve the issue, but it is taking additional steps. We're asking everybody to please bring your driver's license with you when you check in. That's the first thing we're going to scan. That's what's going to lock all those vehicles. That's going to help us build that profile for you, and it's going to go a whole lot faster. And I know everybody's used to their insurance being in our computer system, and most of the time it is. But please bring a physical copy of your insurance card with you. If you could do that for all of 2024, whenever you come in, it's going to make your time in line go faster. It's going to make our staff's job a little faster, and it's going all the people who are waiting in line behind you, it's going to make that go faster. So I know you're used to it, and we know it's convenient, but having that is going to be extremely helpful. If you have your renewal card, please bring that as well. We know that not everybody's time schedule fits from our 7:45 to 4:30 p.m. hours. We've stretched our staff as thinly as we can, and yes, they do get to eat lunch during the day. They wouldn't work for us for very long if they were denied their lunch, although I've been asked to tell folks why they're allowed to eat lunch, because I want to keep my good staff. But we know that it can't always work for you. There is an online option. This CAVIS has caused a few hiccups with that online registration. If you can register online, great. We encourage you to do it. I actually process those by myself every single morning, so I'm taking a look at those numbers and watching those come in. You can also do it by mail. It costs $2. You can spend your time or you can spend your $2. Doesn't matter to me which you spend, but $2 is worth an hour waiting in line to me all day long. But we know that may not be an option for you, but we encourage you to drop it in the mail. We even have a convenient drop box, both the sheriff's office and ours. We're glad to take your payments by a drop box. Just drop it in there and we'll take care of it from there, and then we'll mail it to you as soon as it's processed. Normally, you all are used to me sharing our financials with you all on an update on a year-to-year basis. Quite frankly, this CAVIS thing has made it such a delay. We know, I don't know who they are by name, but there are a lot of folks who tags expired in December and January. We'd really love it for you guys to come in and get compliant. We want that for you. We want that for us. We want that for all of the agencies that we collect funds for. The thing that has caused me the greatest concern and challenge about this, and I've expressed this to the head of the CAVIS team, is the dollar amount that we collect at the clerk's office. You can come in, you may write a $700 check, you may write a $1,000 check, and it seems like we're taking an awful lot of your money. We're taking it in. But on most of those transactions, the clerk's fee is very, very small, and it's costing us more to take some of those transactions, than we're actually expending. Now, we're not a business, but we need to use good business sense and good fiscal sense. So we're managing our staff, but we are spending more on overtime than we would like. We're going to be okay budget-wise. I'm watching it, but we've got to get everybody caught up on their registrations and their renewals. So I just want to thank you. The public has actually been way more patient than I anticipated. So Hardin Countyans are good people. They're understanding when you explain to them why the line is longer than it is, why the wait time is longer than they want it to be. The little kids in line have demonstrated the greatest amount of patience, and I want to commend every little kid who stood in line. So that's really the end of my report. I have a personal thank you to Squires Yates, Saltzman, Clem, Pennington, and Muse. You all chipped in and bought lunch for the staff last week, and I appreciate you all doing that. I think you all passed the hat at KCO Convention. The staff really appreciated it. They were not only well-fed, but they know that you guys on Fiscal Court really value and appreciate them, and so I want to thank you all for that. Barring any questions, that's my report.
Brian, I don't have a question, but I've heard a lot of scuttle in the community, and they really appreciate you coming out about every 20 minutes and giving your speech. I've been in it. I've heard it 3 or 4 times myself. Well, maybe not that many times, but I think I've heard it twice, 2 or 3 times. But I just want to commend you for going out and keeping the public, letting them know what's going on, what the problem is, and just kind of diffusion the situation where it could get hostile. Now, I have heard some people as I'm coming in, good luck with it, so there are still some gruntles, but.
There are, and we've had to separate a few adults in line. Imagine that. But I will say this, and it dawned on me the other night, and I've shared this with my staff. In January and February, the last 8 weeks, I have had more individuals make a concerted effort to compliment a member of my staff by name. They've sent an email, they have sent us a direct message on social media, or they've pulled me aside and said, that young lady helped me, that gentleman helped me. I've had that happen more in the last 8 weeks than in the previous 8 months. Not because they were doing not anything poorer than, but this is a cold becoming diamonds kind of issue, and they have really, really become diamonds down there. And so I appreciate the fact. We actually acknowledge that internally, so if you did get special service from someone and you felt like they really went above and beyond, please let us know by name, that staff member, and we're recognizing them for that. So thank you all.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, so there are some written reports included, and we'll move on then to our citizens' concerns or comments. Do we have anyone that would like to come up and make any comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on then to the next item, which is our second reading of Ordinance 339, Series 2024. This is the certification of recovery residences in Hardin County. Again, we reviewed this, went through it in some detail during the first reading, basically this ordinance will go into effect if we approve it today, go into effect July 1st, 2024. We also, at the last meeting, approved an interlocal agreement with Elizabethtown for the enforcement of that. And so that, unless, basically describes it, I don't see any need to go back through the details again today. So I do need a motion to approve the second reading of this ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved, seconded. Any discussion or further discussion about this ordinance? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion passes. All right, very good. All right, so finally we have the consent agenda. We'll just kind of roll through here fairly quickly. The items A, B, C, and then item N, which is Resolution 40, all have to do with some financial reports and payroll, paying bills, financial transfers and such. The next items are D, E, and F, which are resolutions 30, 31, 32, and then skipping down to items J and K, which are resolutions 36 and 37. All 5 of these resolutions have to do with personnel changes. Item G, which is Resolution 33, this is related to the revision to the Buildings and Ground job description, as we've discussed in committee. Resolution 34 is related to changes to personnel policies and procedures handbook. This is a huge change, much needed update of this handbook. As we all know, there was a bunch of changes. And so I just wanted to say thanks and big kudos to our HR coordinator, Becca, who is leading this and has been working on it for a long time. And a lot of hard work went into pulling this all together. We've also got Resolution 35. This is related to some Dell Financial Services contract for EMS. This is a kind of a switch from owning these laptops that are used on the ambulances. This is now a lease agreement. It's a $29,000 agreement over 3 years, and we end up with 15 of these rugged laptops for our ambulances and the EMTs, paramedics that are using them. Much needed tool upgrade here that we need to do, and I do want to thank our IT director, Aaron Miller, for pulling this together. I think it's a big step for us. Let's see, so we skip down to resolutions 38 and 39, have to do with our Spring Hill Road landfill mowing and Pearl Hollow mowing contracts. That will be taken care of for 2024 with these resolutions 38 and 39. We have a resolution 41, which is related to a bid rejection for the website refresh. And let's see. The next two are resolutions 42 and 43. These are in regards to a reappointment of Darren Powell at ECTC and for Kendra Scott at the Hardin County Chamber, and reappointing them back into the Lincoln Trail Ad Board. So we definitely appreciate both of these folks, as I talk to them about this, being willing to give their time and effort to serve on this board. And then the resolution 45 is related to a surplus travel trailer. This travel trailer comes from the state. It was originally bought, I believe, for some emergencies, big emergencies, and it was surplus. Richard DeWitt, our EM Deputy Director, right place at the right time. And if you know Richard, he'll dig and he'll find stuff. And he did in this case and got requests in early on and was able to get this travel trailer at a very high cost of $0. And so the purpose really will be used as we develop it to be used for emergency, obviously for a command post for big emergencies, and we will add equipment to it as they become available, and I'm sure Richard will be able to find that equipment at good prices. And so, kudos then to Richard for finding this for us, for our county, and really for our region as we become more and more prepared for any emergencies that come our way. Hopefully they'll be zero and we won't need it. All right, so, and then finally, the last three items are committee meeting minutes. So that covers the consent agenda, and I do need a motion to approve these agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to make a request to amend the Emergency Services Committee meeting to reflect proper date, last names of attendees, or actually names of attendees. I know there's an action item from that meeting, so I'm not sure how to pose that, but I would like for those to be amended and maybe perhaps revised for the next fiscal court meeting so we could get them. How does that?
Yeah, you can pull that from the consent and then just resubmit, and we can put it on the next consent
Okay,
agenda.
it does have something in the minutes though that reflect to the EMS Dell computers.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're just
Then-
approving the minutes. We're not
Okay,
approving
I would
what
like for
happened.
those then to be pulled and resubmitted for our next court meeting.
And
Thank
anyone
you.
can do that, so yeah. You don't need a motion, you can just
Okay.
pull it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll just keep it simple and we'll pull
That's-
that out. And
that's
then we'll
perfect.
Get it changed, and
Yeah.
then next meeting we'll put
Just
it back
wanted
in
them
again.
complete.
Okay.
They weren't online.
Okay, all right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll roll call.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion passes. All right, let's move on then to any comments. Does our county attorney have any comments?
I don't, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from our county clerk? All right, let's go ahead and our magistrates, Magistrate Yates.
I don't have any comments.
Okay, Magistrate Saltzman,
Thank you, sir. I have nothing.
Magistrate Whitehead.
Yes, thank you. Just want to recognize again Mike McNutt for his award. Judge Tall alluded to that earlier. I want to recognize him. Animal care and control is one of the departments in the Resources Committee, so I want to recognize him for that. And also for I want to bring attention to the article that appeared in the News Enterprise today. It's amazing the work that our animal care and control unit does. I think they're probably regarded as one of the best in Kentucky. And I just want to bring recognition to that and the work that they're doing, and give accolades to those that work so hard to get grants so that they could supply the local law enforcement agencies with the chip the chip scanner readers and that type thing. That helps us in our job to try to fiscally, I'll get it here in a minute, control the taxpayers' money and help cut costs. So just want to give accolades to our animal control for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Clem.
Yes, Judge, just want to remind folks the next Finance Committee meeting is March the 19th at 3:30 across the hall. And just want to remind you, please don't drink and drive and don't text and drive.
All right, Magistrate Thompson.
Just a thank you to those who've adjusted their speed in driving. I've noticed, especially New Glendale Road, where people seem to be paying a little more attention to the speed limit. I hope that's happening throughout the area of the Bosque development, and I know they make every effort to keep those who are employed there informed of being courteous and responsive to the residents. As far as the litter is concerned, I think we, as a total community, need to improve our responsibility with that, and I'd like to continue to encourage us to keep our streets, areas clean and free of trash and litter, because if it is out there, it's going to just look terrible. And we've got the most beautiful countryside in the world here in Hardin County. It does not deserve to be cluttered with litter. I'm always reminded of the gentleman who, I think he was probably Italian or Greek, who played the Indian, who was in the canoe and talking about the pollution and all in the past when some of you weren't even born. But let's take care of our environment. Thank you.
All right, Magistrate Hicks.
I have nothing.
Thank you. Magistrate Muse.
I'd just like to promote the St. Bridget Church, Vine Grove's, having their fish fry every Friday up till now, till Lent, and it's from 5 to 7 o'clock.
All right, thank you. Of course, my typical reminders, the next Fiscal Court meeting is March 12th at 3:30 p.m. right here. One note I did want talk about quickly is OSHA. We had was here today on our request, not because of anything that we had done unsafe or anything, but they went through all of our buildings and found a few items, as they usually will, but nothing serious, and most of it's already been taken care of. So it was a good visit. And they went over to our animal shelter, and as we were talking about that today, and this OSHA inspector said that's the nicest place he's ever walked through, and he was just very, very nice in his comments. overall. And again, Richard was with him today and did a good job with that. At the end of the day, we end up with safer places to work. Finally, I'll say that that there is some concerns about the weather tonight, and so there's some pretty serious things that at least some probability that winds 30 and 40 miles per hour, possible tornadoes, 2-inch hail, wind gusts 70+ miles per hour, heavy rainfall, all kinds of fun stuff. So 11 o'clock, I believe, is the first one. I believe that is supposed to be staying north, a little north of Hardin County, and then another line is coming through later in the morning, and maybe around 4 a.m. or so. So just be aware of that. Take precautions. And the latest information, I believe, was updated on our Facebook for the emergency management page also. So you can refer to that and get the latest information that we have. So be careful. All right. As we, I guess there's really no more business today except to adjourn, but as we go into closed session, obviously you're welcome to hang around if you'd like until we return and wrap things up. So with that, I move that we go to closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101C, discussion of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of a public agency. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? With that, roll call, please.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion passes.
Good swag.
Are you guys ready? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Second. Any objections?
Is that E.G. who seconded? Thank you.
Any objections? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.